Do those kissy-face movies make your stomach churn? Well, if so, Horror Addict Fanatics welcomes you. Like, follow, and share our horrific horror page, www.facebook.com/horror-addict-fanatics. Horror Addict Fanatics, live in 5 minutes. Horror Addict Fanatics. Live. One monster would be terrific, but here are three to bring you 3 times the horror. 1. Dracula. The mere mention of his name strikes fear in the hearts of mortal men. Lures innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death. An undead fiend of the night, thirsting for blood. 2. The monster. A creature so hideous, women faint at the sheer sight of him. Is he man? Is he alive? Or is he dead? An uncontrollable beast. A creature with no soul. 3. The Wolfman. A man cursed to live out his days as an unearthly beast transformed by the light of a full moon, searching for a way to remove his curse. He is driven into madness, a man tortured by the fact he will kill every full moon. His ghastly howl, a dirge of death. Horror Addict Fanatics presents Tales of Dracula. Starring Wayne W. Johnson, Dracula. Joe DeMiro, the monster. Tom DeLillo as Cretan Reed, the Wolfman. Mickey Ray, Professor Von Helsing. And Bennett McDuff as Dr. Victoria Frankenstein.
Hello and welcome to Horror Addict Fanatics special presentation of Wolfbane Productions' Tales of Dracula. Tonight we have a special guest, Wayne W. Johnson, Dracula. And I'm going to go ahead and get him on into the feed here. Oh boy. You ready?
Yeah, I can't improve my face anymore than it is now. Oh, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's a delay here. Okay, just do it this way because yeah, there is a major delay going on between what I'm looking at you on the laptop and okay, there we go. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop paying attention to that. I'm gonna pay attention to you. Hello, everyone out there, and I got to get even here because I'm like, here we go. Let me get. Nope. this is a delay lag here. So let's see. This hand. Okay, so it's got to go this way.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. 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 That's weird. I mean, I could just do that, right? And make it worse. Okay. Hold on. Hold on here. Hold on. Production values on my end. Yeah, it's weird. My picture. Oh, it's weird because on Facebook it looks great. Here it doesn't. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue on.
Wayne, good to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's awesome.
I'm centered. Hey, there we go.
Nice. We got this figured out. We're gonna have to readjust all the other camera angles now. As we go.
None of
that'll be okay though. We'll figure it out. All right.
I got bigger and not McDonald's.
All right, let's get started with this here. I think I got thrown off a little bit too. all the
have a habit of doing that.
all these technical issues. So, all right, let's begin. I had this planned out perfectly, but you know, it is what it is.
Now it's going to. It's the camera. It's got to be the camera on my end here because all of a sudden it's like focused on Baby Yoda for some reason. So somebody probably hijacked my camera and they're just like, "Oh, what's Baby Yoda doing up there?" Or Grogu.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna look here. It's so if I look here, it's over here, so it looks like I'm looking into the camera. Okay, there we go. Now it, okay, forget the technical issues. Just let's continue on because this is weird. There we go. Okay, and now it's just my hair. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right.
All right. There you go.
I'm gonna have to keep adjusting this thing. For some reason, my camera just keeps. I bet there's some kind of auto focus thing on this that's messing things up. But hold on.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
No, that's perfectly fine. It just, you know, this happens with anything. We're gonna have technical issues, so we won't let that bother us.
mhm.
So, okay. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're gonna get right into it. Few little questions from the beginning, and then we'll jump into the film because that's what everybody wants to see. They want to see the movie and talk to you.
Oh.
So you are sorry. We'll get this. We'll get this. We'll get this together. Okay, now we're good. So you're an actor, producer. It's what IMBD said. Actor, producer.
IMDb.
I know
Not I.
they lie
No,
horribly. They
no. I guess you could say that. I guess it depends on what type of a producer you're talking about and all that stuff. I guess when anybody says producer to me initially, I'm thinking like major producer, like the top producer who is putting a ton of money in and overseeing a lot of stuff and everything like that. I have, but it's or two at the moment that I can think of at the moment.
so technically producer.
Technically, I guess. Yeah, that's just me being stupid.
uh,
Okay.
Carolina Blue.
Caroline.
Caroline. Well, you know, we did this earlier. We discussed
When we were doing our test.
a few minutes ago. We discussed that, but so Caroline Blue, you went from basically you went from being uh, in a band, your band, to acting. What led you into deciding to go into acting?
Well, that whole double thing actually started many years earlier in high school. Actually, I initially got interested in music for a number of reasons, and one of the major ones was peer pressure. All the people that were around me that I was hanging out with at the time, they were all local musicians or friends of local musicians or something like that. And of course, you wanted to fit in.
Hmm.
So that was part of it, and but I also ironically enough, I was in a Spanish class. Sorry, my hair. I think we discussed this before too. My hair just loves to creep in, and eventually I become cousin it. And but the acting bug actually started when I was, ironically enough, in a Spanish class, um, and we had to do a commercial as a project. Speaking. So of course you had to speak well, and I have an active mind, so I came up with this idea of me. It looks like a Jason mask, but it's actually a karate mask, a protection gear, and I had a ski mask on, and then that over it, and because I do martial arts, and I came up with this idea for a cereal commercial where somehow I'm hawking cereal. So just picture some really extremely wiry, thin little kid in front of a camera speaking rapid Spanish, so because I didn't want to fuck it up, you know. And all of a sudden, I put the cereal box on the table, and I do what's called an axe kick, which you go up and bam, straight down, and the thing goes flying, and I'm unfortunately, I don't have a copy of that. I wish I did. If anybody does have a copy of that, please let me know. I would love to have a copy of it. Um, and I got such a reaction from that. Mostly good. Maybe a few people like, the hell is this? Because back in high school, I was kind of like, had like a bowl haircut.
Mm.
The hair was like maybe, you know, maybe even shorter than that. I was kind of a weirdo in a way, kind of a loner in a sense.
Oh, I wouldn't
Uh,
believe that. I can't see that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a tiger belt buckle. I always had like almost even way before what's his name from Facebook, the owner of Facebook. What the hell is his name?
The that
Uh,
guy.
yeah, that guy. Way before he came up with that idea of, oh, wear the same outfit every day because so you save time, which I don't know. Oops, you disappeared. But you save time. I was doing that myself, but not for the same reason. It's just because I guess I was lazy or something. I had jeans on, jean jacket. I used to have it rolled up like this. Um, and then I had like these black wristbands on. And the jacket either had like a dragon on the back or it had a kiss patch on the back. And with a bowl haircut and a tiger belt buckle. And that's pretty much the only thing that changed really was the shirt. Um, and it was like usually martial art type shirts until I started going to Kiss shows, and then then wearing Kiss shirts and other things, and so I kind of had the same image all the time, and it's weird because I was with all the heavy metal kids and stuff, but I was also on the soccer team. I was also on the honor roll. I was also part of the like they had like a gamers club. I mean, so I was kind of all over the place, but never really a solid member of any particular one group. And so, but that acting bug had gotten into. And when I was in 11th or 12th grade, I think it was 12th grade, I took an acting
Ah.
class, and I found out it was kind of easy for me, and I got a lot of praise for that. I'm not saying acting is easy; it just at the time it just seemed like I could breeze through it. And but then, for lack of a better term, basically it was like, okay, which, again, picture bowl haircut, tiger belt buckle, all that stuff. I'm a chick magnet, right?
Right, right.
So which career choice is going to get me, to be French, laid first? Okay, is it going to be music or acting? Well, it seems like all my music friends were getting laid left and right. I didn't hardly have any acting friends, so I couldn't really compare because otherwise, if I did, I'd find out they were getting laid just as much, back then. So I'd have done things differently, but I chose music in part for that reason. And later on, the right reasons came up when I went to college and everything and got a bachelor's degree in music and all that stuff. But, so I was on the path of music for a long time. And then towards the end of it, of the first phase, I guess you could say, and this was like around 2011, I was heavily burnt out at the time. The last permanent lineup of Caroline Blue had broken up, and I was getting tired because every time it breaks up, you got to start over
Mhm.
again, basically. And I was getting really tired of doing that, and it was like pulling teeth a lot of the times in Central New York for the style of music that I wanted to do. More and more, I was actually starting to do things by myself. And anyway, so it was like, let me take a break. And having said that, about a year, the last year of that, we were starting to do more music videos. Now we'd started doing music videos back in 2001, 2002. So I had some connections that way. But I remember one of the last videos we did with that last lineup, like everyone was miserable except me. I was I'm not, and so and it and because I had some connections and stuff, and I was already starting to dabble a little bit anyway, just to, I just wanted to see what it was like. I was starting to get that bug again, and it wasn't though once 2011 hit, the lineup had broken up. I lost my job, but I also had a lot of money behind me. So I said, okay, well, uh, I'm not
Hey,
gonna do my best not to make the same mistakes. Uh,
we
I'm seeing like
yeah
three different
we've
versions of myself here. I've got
you've got
it's
some weird technical
so
issues going on over there. I'm not sure exactly um, what's
I
going
think
on
the
with it.
person who's hacking my laptop
It
camera right now
it
is
it
going,
it
what
looks
the
like
fuck
it.
is this? I'm supposed to be looking at Pornhub and I'm looking at this freaking hippie here talking about Dracula. What the hell?
Yeah, something's definitely going on with the camera. I'm not sure what.
And let me do this. Maybe it's me because I'm on the recording end here. Maybe let me stop that. See if that
Oh, that
changes
helped.
anything. Well, that changed. Yeah, that changed an angle. Yeah, it was me recording. So okay, sorry folks. Rada was already recording, but for some reason I go, oh, I might as well record too. And well, of course, one of these days I'll figure things out.
It's okay.
Anyway, okay. I'm sorry.
No,
That was a very long-winded answer to one
oh,
question.
that's all right. You can. That's perfectly fine. I had to fix the screen on this other page.
There's there's nothing you can do to fix my image. I look just like this. It's not going to get any better. My face looks just like this. So sorry.
So,
Let's see. Oh, hey, now I'm more center.
yeah.
There we go.
I
Okay,
keep
we're good.
I try to keep making adjustments as we go whenever your camera, you know, moves. I make adjustments,
Mm,
but it's okay.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically you had an interest in acting in school, but you chose band over it initially.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where I tend to gravitate more towards the creative
Right.
arts, whether it's acting, music. I just seem to it seems to be easier for me to do, and it's great because I mean I've always said this with music, and it's actually true with acting too. It's what I'm trying to do is honestly express myself, um, and it's really a great way to do it. I mean, I mean, what it's a great thrill to have something in your head and to make it a reality, whether it's a song or a piece of art or choreography for dance or fight or acting, performance films, anything like that. It's all part of the creative field, and it's I just seem to gravitate more towards those type of jobs than anything like a 9 to 5 job. I mean, obviously, everyone does that for various lengths of time, but um, it's it is what it is. I'll put it that way because the screen ratio changed, so now it's all just me. Hi. I don't know if this is like going to be like this on Facebook, but it's all me. Oh, as soon as I said that, the person who's controlling the camera, who wants Pornhub over here, is like, no, we don't need that. Cut your ego right there. So,
Yeah,
okay, enough bad jokes.
that,
Okay, go
no,
on.
that would be me controlling the transitions between our scenes. So,
Okay.
it's when you're talking, people want to see you talk. They don't want to see both of us. They want to see see you.
Well,
You're the star of
thank
the
you. That's
show.
very nice. I'm I'm something all right. Self depreciation. That's kind of like I kind of as I get older, it seems to be easier to do. So I kind of beat the trolls to the punch
Mm.
sometimes. Sometimes.
I have a question for you, and this is pretty much,
Sure.
I guess it would be kind of odd. Another IMDb quote, I guess. Um, one of the quotes were, "Is there a particular genre that you prefer to work in?" What you know, and do you remember what your answer was? Was there a particular genre of film that you worked in? And then your answer was um, one where I don't get injured.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually not too far away from being accurate. Um, but I have to say this first and foremost, just to be clear, pretty much everyone that I've ever worked with, safety is the number one thing. You don't want anybody getting hurt. You don't want anybody getting fingers or limbs or whatever sliced off or blown off or whatever. You want them, you want everyone to leave the set, the same condition that they came to the set, you know, injury free. Having said that, though, because I'm still not union. I've been on union sets though, and I've done some stuff, one way or the other. Sorry, I mean it's like my hair is fluttering. It's like, oh, and I keep doing it because I'm just. Oh. But somebody right now is watching. Look at him; he's so fucking egotistical. he's got his hair all over the place. You don't realize my hair is in danger of engulfing me here. Um, but a lot of times when it comes to uh, indie or non-union films, sometimes because their budget doesn't allow for certain safeguards, they have to do without. So like sometimes, give you an example here. One of the first things I did in when I was acting was I got shot uh, by somebody, and we were on a parking garage, and of course it's concrete. There's no padding there though, but I had to fall on it. Yeah, especially that. Yeah, but even the ones that kind of are able to take time because they actually properly get the licenses and everything in the proper forms and even insurance and stuff like that, it's still there's a more often than not it's not going to be there, and you learn to deal with it. I mean, sometimes I'm lucky, but like going back to that other example, I mean, I fell on that uh, parking garage floor like several times. You know, um, and some directors are like that. Sometimes they do one or two takes. Some of them do 20 plus takes. And I've been with directors where it's 20 plus takes and it's very physical. So, and sometimes, I mean, I know Johnny Z, for example, which was a film that was very physical. There were some. I actually had like special military police knee pads. They were like hard gel, very hard plastic gel on. And I know for a fact, if I didn't have those on, I probably would have shattered both my kneecaps while we were filming.
Wow.
Again, the director and producers and everybody, they're all very concerned with safety, safeguard, and all that stuff. But part of it is just what you're doing. Part of it is the actor. So I have to take some of the blame for that because it's the intensity you bring to the role.
Right.
And when it comes to physical action, and if it's a horror movie especially, you got to bring that to the table. The more intense you can be with the character, of course, if the character is like that. I mean, like in Night of Something Strange, for example, is a very intense character, very outwardly intense character. Tales of Dracula, for example, is also a very intense character, but it's more of an inner intensity. And Joe actually specifically, because when I first did Tales of Dracula in 2014, he was like, okay, you got the intensity on the outside, but
Right.
try to bring that on the inside, you know, because like when you look at the script and there's exclamation points all over the place, you're thinking, ah, 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 you start yelling your head off. Like, no, you don't. That's not what it means. But so you learn to say it, but you're still very tense. You just get into that, and you not that that was the best example of me doing it, but
There goes your feed again.
I'll go again. Okay, yeah, come on. I move? Can I move? Nope, I'm not moving. Okay,
Must be
there
a
we go. Now I'm moving.
connection
Okay.
issue, folks. It
Yep.
happens.
Thing is, a lot of times what I've noticed in my research when it comes to acting, the more modern stuff. I mean, if you go back to the silent era, of course, they had to be extremely over the top in a sense when it came to physical acting because there was no sound. So they had to exaggerate things.
Right.
I actually did a silent film, per se, indie silent film, um, and it was a blast having to research it and actually do it. Um, but modern stuff, it's more internal. It's almost like what do the eyes show? It's like what is that internal dialogue going on? Like if something tragic is going on, instead of like crying and being explosive, unless it calls for that, it's more like what is that person inside? What is that inner conflict going on? At least from what I've seen. So it's and that's still a work in progress, especially the external stuff. That's how I end up destroying stuff. It's like almost every set, I break something, intentional or not. It's usually unintentional.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something that happens with me.
Well, how did you? I remember seeing an interview that you did where you talked about inspiration of for the character for your portrayal of Dracula, and you went with Bela Lugosi, and he happens to be my favorite as far as um, all the Draculas. I like Christopher Lee, and Hammer films and all that, but there was just something about Bela Lugosi that I really respected and appreciated his
Mm-hmm.
style and his take. And I feel like he was, truthfully, I feel like he was the original Dracula. Whereas, Christopher
Yeah,
Lee, he has a different intensity, you know, um, a different style, a different tone. The Hammer films were, much
definitely.
different than the Universal. So
Hmm.
my question was, I remember you talking about how you drew inspiration from Bela Lugosi, and I was just wondering if you had ever considered or looked at Christopher Lee's portrayal of Dracula, and if you did you look at it or did you not, or did you always just say, I want to stick with 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 this portrayal, or was that something that you and the director talked about?
The director being Joe
Right.
DeMuro. Um, we did talk about that in the first film, and in regards to that, and because it's kind of hard to believe because I've done a lot of indie horror films, but I didn't start out as a horror fan.
Right.
And I'm still not up to speed. I'm way, way behind on all that stuff. I'm more of a action superhero kind of, it's like, anything with Marvel or DC, it's like boom, I'm right there. I'm watching it. I can go into the back history and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
for a good chunk of it. Horror, there's some stuff that I haven't seen in that people would be like, "What? You haven't seen that?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't seen that." I got asked one time, there was like, "What was your favorite Jason kill?" And I'm like, "I think I saw one Friday the 13th movie in its entirety when I was a kid, and I could barely remember that, so I had to do like a quick, like binge watch kind of thing to find out my favorite kill." So I mean, there's stuff like that. I mean, most of the Halloween films I haven't watched. I think I've only watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm really deprived, and I will catch up on all that stuff. It's just a matter of time. But I kind of forgot the question.
Oh
Oh,
no, I was
inspiration. Okay. Um, well, it's well basically what me and Joe were talking about. He wanted to. His whole thing is the film is from the fans for the fans. Okay,
right.
he really wanted it centered on the Universal era. So of course that's Bela, which he set the bar. I mean, he like you were saying, he's the original Dracula on film. So I mean, you're always going up against that legacy. And I didn't want to be my own Dracula, especially on the first one because that one was it was more like we didn't want to go too far. There was a little bit of differences. I mean, my hair's long.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly thin. I'm kind of like a linebacker these days. Um, McDonald's. No. But and I've got the contacts in, and plus the teeth are a little different too because actually I can't. The teeth that I have, the fangs, they don't fit where they're supposed to, like on a traditional uh, vampire. So they go one forward, and that's more of a modern vampire. But that's the way it is. So you work with what you have. But actually, Joe recommended that I also look heavily into the Dracula movie from 1979 with Frank Langella. And he wanted me to check that out. And there are some things, if you watch Tales of Dracula, you'll see, for example, I do this a lot. There's actually one scene where I'm supposed to do it, and I totally forgot. And I was like, I'm beating myself up about it. But he does that a lot. It's almost like that's like the end of a bat's hand or something like that. But he does that a lot. And even in the second movie, I was doing that a lot too. And there's other ways, his mannerisms and stuff. But for people who have seen the 1979 Dracula, don't worry. There's no lava lamps. There's none of that. Or the scene where the lava lamps were. There is nothing like that whatsoever in either one of the Dracula movies that we did. Either one of Tales of Dracula 1 or 2. You're not going to see it. You never will see it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out that film because I even Frank hates that scene. I mean, he absolutely hates that scene. So, so it was mainly those two. I did look at some of the Hammer films. It is, I think you said it best. It's a different type of intensity, and I didn't want the two types clashing. Whereas because Frank, he has an intensity that's different too, but it's closer to Bela than Christopher Lee, I think. I
Right.
mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, combining two, that was enough right there. Adding a third one in would be more. Plus, I didn't really want to add anything of my own because I didn't think I had the right to do that. I was trying to be a
Right.
purist. Now, when we get to the second movie, and I actually coined the phrase in another interview, I said we're starting to branch into what's known as the Demiroverse. There are little things starting to creep up, and it's not necessarily because of my input. It's like I'll read the script and I go, oh, this is different. So that's starting to happen, and it was already there again with the contacts, with the size, and Dracula is actually uh, in Tales of Dracula. Dracula is actually based on Vlad the Impaler. So he would be a little bit bigger because he was a warrior. You would think, you know. So I don't have the mustache, beard and stuff like that. But then that would have been interesting. But we never even talked about that. I mean, they did tell me about the Vlad comparisons and all that stuff, and with the long hair, but nothing about facial hair. And I'm very glad that they didn't do that because that would have been just another, harder thing to keep going for consistency. You don't want you don't want that Justice League mustache problem, you know. So it was a lot easier, So it was the contacts, the placement of the teeth and the hair, and my size. That was enough. And we did get some flack from it from some fans, but it's we also got a lot of praise too. So
I think it makes sense that Dracula would be a little bit bigger. Um,
well, hopefully not too big.
mm,
We don't need
no,
tubby lump.
no, no, I don't.
you know,
I don't know.
but I mean, I will say this. This is something that Joe specifically told me
Tubby
about the
lip.
character too. He said he wanted to go back, and this is actually very different from Frank Langella's version because if I remember, I think his version told the menacing, villainous Dracula because he became a little more
Right.
romantic, not sparkling romantic, but it was the start of him being more of a seducer and you know where that is. But he didn't really want that. There were certain things with Frank he thought were really cool to incorporate, but he really wanted to bring back the evil Dracula. He's just a total evil. I mean, even your promos there. he's an undead fiend of the night, luring girls to a fate worse than
Yeah.
death, which is basically dating me. That's a fate worse than death. Okay, so hey, that's so it fits. But uh,
Yeah, some of those some of that was, I have to admit, there were a few because I actually got a lot of private messages. I don't know why they didn't post it on our page. I got a lot of messages talking about the promo, um, which I appreciate people asking me questions, and liking it. It was a quick, well, it wasn't so quick to do, but it was quick to to put together, in a sense that 2 or 3 weeks I just did it. But I have to admit that some of the verbiage is not
past its
yeah,
time.
yeah, and it's not directly copied from uh the old Universal trailers, but I did go back and look at some of the trailers and tried to look at some of their verbiage and how they worded things, and so I threw in some of my own and just tried to make it fun, for everybody,
Yeah.
and make it kind of funny
Yeah, I
at the
mean, because
same
it's you got
time.
to remember it's like the 30s and stuff, the 30s and the 40s. It's the looking at
Hmm.
the eyes of horror from back then is totally different than today. I mean, people are so I guess for lack of a better term at the moment, like kind of
Hmm.
numb when it comes to older horror because it's like, I mean, they'll see like Frankenstein or Dracula, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah, it's funny in a way.
it's I've seen it in there, and I just got a notice to join Farmville. Okay, man, whoever's running my camera here, man, you stop.
Yeah, so we knocked it out real fast, but there was a it was fun to do, and I was kind of glad that I could put that together for uh for this show tonight. I have a question for you. Another IMBD question. Um, and I'm going to go straight from the list. So let me look over here at it. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to go over here and look at it because I want to get it all correct. So
Okay.
you say, if I can find it, see how unprepared we are? We talked about this earlier. I have to admit, we were on earlier, everybody, and we were talking about some things about what we wanted to talk about. I'm not even going to lie about it. Everything was going smooth, and I had it all planned out, and it was working perfect, and then it just my script went nuts over here. IMBD, you talk about uh, you should always bring an extra pair of underwear on set with you, in case catering is having a bad day. You wanna tell us, yeah,
Crafty.
crafty,
Yeah.
cater, whatever. You wanna
Yeah, that's in the industry.
you
Crafty is the
wanna you
person who's
wanna
doing the
you wanna
catering or the
you wanna
things and
let
stuff.
us know why, what happened?
Well, it is a good policy. I mean, you got to admit that. I mean, if Crafty is having a bad day, everyone's going to have a bad day. Sorry, I had to check the phone here. That's why all of a sudden you're seeing my nostril right there, so close. Because
Well, I've only been on a few.
it's weird. I can't. I Oh, there's chats going on. Somebody, there's a couple. I don't know how long that is because I'm wearing contacts and I can't read worth crap. But thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
And they're also probably wondering when the hell are you going to stop talking and when are you going to start the movie. But to answer your question, that's part of me having an active mind. I have not actually been through that entire experience, but I have been on a set where Crafty was pissed off, and that spurred that line of thought there because and it is there's a lot of when it comes to the creative fields, there's a lot of great things about it, but there's also a lot of creative differences, ego, various degrees of that. People, there's just a lot of clashes at times. One person thinks it should be this way, one person is that way, and also sensitivities. It seems more often than not, people in the creative fields tend to be a little more sensitive to criticism, and that's something that I've, when people ask me, I'll say, you got to develop what's called your armor, uh, because otherwise people will talk you right out of your dreams. They will just knock you out, especially if you put anything up on YouTube or Twitter. You put stuff up there, people, they got keyboard courage and everything like that, keyboard warriors and stuff. They're not going to hold back. They will tell you, and even if they're just doing it to troll you, So, um, there's a difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. Constructive criticism, yeah, you should check it out, but it doesn't mean you will obey it all the time either. Your criticism, just disregard. If so, and an example of that would be if somebody says, "Oh, you suck." Okay, thank you for your opinion. Maybe next time I'll even ask you
Yeah,
for it.
really.
But not that that matters, because people are going to give you their opinion no matter what, especially these days, and that's fine. They actually have a right to do that. Um, I'm a big believer in freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Um, but also, if it's constructive, maybe somebody's, it depends on where it's coming from, because some people, it might be like, hey, maybe you should try this and do this because it'll be easier for you, or it'll come off better, and maybe they know what they're talking about, maybe they don't, but it's something always to consider. But again, at the end of the day, you're the one who makes the final decision whether you want to act upon it or not. And usually, when it comes to that, and if you don't do it, usually more often than not, at least that I've seen in my experience, they're like, "Oh, okay, you do what you do you, and see what happens," and but yeah, I mean, it's like I have on like my YouTube page, which I'm probably gonna get. I'm gonna start getting the trolls coming in, which is great. That'll give me some hits. You know, people saying, "Oh, you suck, you this, that." It's like, and you get it all. Anytime you put your stuff, if you put your stuff out on public display, you have to expect public
Right.
response. That's just the way it is. And going back to the whole thing with crafty and stuff, again, that's an example of me having an open mind. But it is something that I said at the spur of the moment in another interview. There's probably going to be some quotes from this interview that are going to end up there.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've had a few run-ins with Crafty myself on a few lower budget films, and it hadn't always been great. So,
no, that's somebody you don't. I mean, I mean, a lot of them too. They're very
right,
underappreciated.
right,
There's a lot of people in the crew that are
right,
appreciated a lot, and it's even background actors and stuff. And it depends on, if you have a great crew who is very sensitive to your needs, and make sure everyone's safe, and make sure that everyone is having a good experience, not at the cost of the quality of the
right.
production, though. Uh, of course, because to me, quality is number one. I mean, if you don't have the quality, you don't really have anything. But you also don't want to. I mean, that's why unions in part came into being in the first place. Okay, because people were just being abused left and right, and that can still happen in the creative fields. A lot of times, more often than not, because there's no really set guidelines, especially in the beginning. I mean, as you climb up the ladder, there are some here and there, and a lot of that, one of the biggest things is networking, like who you know, um, and if you have a certain look, if for what you're going for, and you try to maximize that. Um, like if you look at me, for example, just looking at me right here, okay, I'm not going to be the guy next door. You're not going to cast me as the guy, the plain milk toast guy from next door. It's not going to happen. I'm not. So me trying to go for those type of roles is a waste of my time
Right.
and their time. So it's so I'm kind of deviating from here, but basically that was just me having an open mind and taking something that actually happened and kind of in the spur of the moment just saying that. But it's good advice though. You should always have an extra pair of underwear with you. You get into an accident. There's an old joke somewhere. It was like I think it was Eddie Murphy or something. If you got into an accident, your mother was like, "Make sure you have clean underwear." Was it Eddie Murphy or I can't remember. And then guy gets into an accident. Hospital calls the mom. Did he have clean underwear? Yes, we found it in the dashboard. Well, maybe that might be Bill Cosby. I don't know if that's it's tabooed to say Cosby jokes now. But,
Oh well, I'm sure he'll get over it. Um,
yeah. Right now, I just lost 5 people on my friends list. Wouldn't be
no,
surprised though. I don't. It's Facebook. I mean, I actually do get. It keeps going. It goes up and down at various rates. It's you take it as serious as you want to take it. I mean, in my opinion, yes, Facebook is a great networking tool. All the social media things are great networking and stuff. But if you got to be careful because it's a fine line and you get really so invested in it. And there's so much anger and hate out there for various reasons. And you can get caught up in that and you can have so much stress. I mean, I was talking to you earlier when we were doing the test thing that it's now focused on my cat calendar over here. Um, Come on, don't focus on my cat calendar, damn it. There you go. Um, you know, one of the reasons why when I do my posts, it's like my daily meme quote thing. I do a whole group of them and then I'm off. Because otherwise, if I'm on there all day long, I would just
yeah,
lose my mind. There's so many things. It's so stressful. So, and it's weird because if you told me 10 years ago I'd be doing that, I'd be like, oh, you're crazy. I was on there constantly. But it's a major time sucker. So
yeah. Um,
kind of like me talking. It's a major time sucker. That'll be a quote. Sorry.
well, I don't see any questions yet.
Scott,
I
do you
see
have
no
any questions?
questions at the moment.
And it says the beast comes at midnight. Looks like you're also on.
Nice.
Thank you guys very much for being here.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Where's the movie?"
We're getting to the movie.
I got my phone right here. Let me ask: does anyone have any questions
Yeah, I have a
before
question. Who's running this show?
the
This
movies?
show's not.
My hair is running this
No.
show.
That's funny. Oh,
Before the movie starts. There's a chat going on, so if anybody who is watching this wants to, you can click on this and you can. Yeah. So it's weird because it's like this really long delayed echo. I just heard the hair joke. Okay. Let's see. There's a chat going on. Who's watching this wants to. Yeah. Anybody wants to pipe in and ask a question?
right.
Feel free. Any question you want to ask? I'm probably going to regret saying that, but hey, nothing right now. Excited to
Well,
see the film. That was Scott.
well, we should probably get the film going, huh?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, let's get this film on. I'm gonna turn us off for a second and I'm gonna get it started up. Start it
Start
up.
it up. Let's go.
Oh boy. You ready for this, Wayne? Because I know you don't like to. Well, you don't prefer to watch yourself in the films. Do we want to talk? Do we want to talk about
No,
that now before we watch the movie
it's
or
like it's not that I
afterwards?
don't like. I actually, well, we could just do it right
Yeah.
here, if you want, since we're right at the moment here. It's not going to take too long, I don't think. Um, but no, it, we discussed this before. Was saying that I kind of have this weird when I'm watching myself on film, TV, whatever. It's not that I don't like watching myself. I'm my biggest fan, So I definitely, I mean, there's a reason my place has mirrors everywhere. Ah, but they're all broken, by the way. Um, yeah, well, you crack them, and you look at them, you crack them, and you keep cracking them and cracking them, and it's after a while, it's you know modern art. No, but this is what happens when I go off thing because I forget the thing. Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem watching myself. It's just so weird, when I see myself doing stuff and I'm just kind of like, that's me. It's like it's this weird disassociation, because I guess it's kind of hard for me to believe that that's me doing that. In a lot of the creative fields, one of the biggest things is taking and everybody a degree of anxiety or fear or both when it comes to expressing yourself is to acknowledge that but then move in spite of that. It's your system is sitting there, it's trying to protect you. Your system is saying, hey, watch out, this is, you're doing something that's out of your comfort zone, be careful. And it's like, okay, thank you for the warning. And then you move on and you do it. So I don't know. I guess that means when it comes to my system, I guess maybe I should just. I guess my comfort zone is just being on a couch, with bunny slippers on, eating easy poofs with Mountain Dew, or something. I don't know. God, that's a bad visual. Next. But yeah, I don't have a problem watching myself unless I'm doing something bad. And bad, I don't mean like being a villain, but bad like in, oh my God, the quality level is what the
Like how did you get involved in this
hell was
situation?
thinking here. And I think that happens with every problems initial music videos with the producer stuff. They were more often than not, they were also indie filmmakers. So they would do casting calls and I would answer them. And especially the first couple of years, I would take any role because I had no experience. I was a performer, but I didn't have like I had that one acting class. That's it. So I didn't have like actual training. I wish I did. I wish I did take theater courses and go through all that. I would definitely have more in my toolbox to work with
Yeah.
right now. But there's also something to be said about throwing yourself in the deep end of the pool and gaining the experience. There's a lot to be said with that approach as well. But I definitely, and if I could, I would definitely go back and do more with theater. I haven't really done much with theater. I've done a few, had a lead role in one production, supporting roles in a few others, but not much. I really do wish I could do that, but that is very time consuming with all the rehearsals and everything like that. So definitely worth it. It's definitely have. I wish that was something in my toolbox, but
You're you got cut off a little bit there. I'm sorry.
we got cut off. Oh my God! Is it because I mentioned cheesy poofs?
Everything was working perfect earlier. I swear.
Until I mentioned cheesy poofs, and then all of a sudden everything screws up. So whoever's hacking my camera right now it must be in love with cheesy poofs. It must be coated orange powder right now.
Oh, you're gonna make me laugh. Um, Scott Davis says, I shared the link before I started watching and was hoping more people would join in. Well,
Thank you,
yeah.
Scott. And he's actually a few times in the past few days or something. And thank you very much, Scott. Scott is somebody that I know and I've actually worked with. And he's a great guy, and and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Scott. I think his significant other, I can't remember if he's married or not, was also sharing stuff. I'm sure he'll respond to that one. He'll probably unfriend me. Like, you don't remember?
Well,
But
well, we appreciate
well, I
it.
mean, too, a lot of people I think are there's a lot of people that lurk way more than participate. That's true with anything, you know, YouTube or any of that stuff. It's like it's an interesting thing with social media, but
I'm listening. I'm listening to the 20-second lag on your end. So.
yeah, me too.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna start this movie because everybody that is with us is ready to see it. So we're gonna get right into it. And if there's any questions during the film, ask away, and we'll answer them.
I don't know if we can talk during the film or not. I guess we'll find out in a moment. If I do, I will try to keep it to a minimum because I know people are watching the film. So
we'll try to you know, if we don't want to interrupt the movie, we could let the movie play and then answer all the questions afterwards, which I think would be a good idea too. It kind of goes off what we had talked about
would
earlier,
be the best.
but you know.
Yeah, no, that's good because I think people would rather just want to watch it without hearing me talking, rambling. They got enough of that in the beginning here right now. They're like, "Holy shit, Wayne, you've already done enough talking for the last 3 hours."
Yeah, we're an hour into it.
I mean, my record's 3 hours, man. I told you I can go.
All right, well, guys, here we go. Tales of Dracula, Wolfbane Productions.
Let me start by telling you my name. I am Dr. Abraham von Helsing. I am writing this down in my journal as a record of my meeting a man or devil. I was called to a small English town to aid a family friend's daughter who fell under the control of this man known as Count Dracula. This was not my first time in courting this evil. A small group of my fellow colleagues back in Transylvania, and led by Father Boris, who is at this very moment attempting to end Count Dracula's last disciple. Somehow, Dracula knows this, and has fled by boat and is heading home.
We must hurry. It's almost sunup. Look, there she is. Ingrid, give us Rita.
She's mine.
Take Rena home, Ludwig. There's nothing more could be done for Victor or Ingrid but to give them a proper Christian burial.
Okay, Father Boris.
I must follow him and put an end to his evil reign. Should I fail in my task, may whoever finds this journal please return this to my granddaughter Jessica.
This is not your daughter, Fritz. She's a demon that lives on human blood. If you truly love her, you must put her soul to rest. You can do it.
And may you also know that he is real.
Look, Fritz. See? She is at peace.
Gentlemen, how nice of you to visit. You have come freely, but I fear you will not go safely.
Count Dracula. Abraham said he had destroyed you, that he had driven a stake through your heart.
There are many things the good professor does not know about my kind, about the powers that I command.
Stand back.
You have spilled the blood of my blood. I now will have to find a new bride.
You will find many facts about this fiendish character, and you will also see the truth of my encounters with him. Many things I've learned over the years of hunting this Count. This journal shall be known as my very own Tales of Dracula.
I'm ready, Father.
Have you got the list?
Yes.
Now remember, Alona, you must make your deliveries quickly. When you make the last one...
I know. Eggs and bacon for the tavern.
Now, by the time you get to the tavern, it might be nightfall. If that happens, then...
I know. Wait for you at the tavern. I can help Elsa behind the bar. Stop worrying so much. I'm a big girl now. I feel like Little Red Riding Hood with my basket of goodies.
Well, watch out for wolves, Little Red Riding Hood.
Sir, can you help me?
Where did you come from?
Visaria. I'm looking for the Chateau Frankenstein. Do you know the way?
Chateau Frankenstein? Yes. Just a couple miles from here. You wouldn't be able to get there until nightfall. And around here, it's not safe to travel after nightfall.
Do you know a place I can spend the night?
There is a tavern a couple miles down the road, and they have rooms to let. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if someone might offer you a ride up to the chateau. Dr. Peter Frankenstein was very highly thought of in the village. You look a little healthy to be one of his patients.
About the tavern. Can you point the way?
Just follow the road for a couple miles or so.
Thank you, sir. How's the food there?
It's not bad, but it's not great. If you're looking for something to fill you up, it'll do the job. Just don't tell Anton I told you that. He's very proud of his cooking, such that it is. He's the innkeeper.
I'm so famished, I'll eat whatever he puts in front of me. Have a good day, sir.
Same to you, stranger.
Creighton.
What?
Creighton Reed.
Well, mighty fine to make your acquaintance, Mr. Reed. You seem like a nice enough fellow.
Oh, I don't know. Some people seem to think so.
Listen, if you're planning on staying in our community, I might just have to introduce you to my daughter. You might even run into her on the way down to the tavern. If you do, just as a little joke, call her Little Red Riding Hood. She's got a riding hood and a basket.
I wouldn't want to frighten her. The tavern is this way, right?
Just down that road.
See you around, sir.
Call me Daniel, Mr. Reed.
Nice to meet you, Daniel.
Two deliveries down, 3 to go. Victor! You lazy thing! What are you doing taking a nap in the middle of the woods? I'm going to tell Father Boris on you. Wake up! Wake... Dear Mother of Mercy. I feel no evil.